Hey everyone, it's Jeremy. I'm going to do another video on something I've kind of brought up before, and it's very important, and that's our mindset. I will do other videos in the future more on the physical aspect of things and what we eat. I want to talk about emotions. Um, I've seen on TV that ads for people needing help these days, being home all day, not working, and it's okay to not be okay. Brings light to that the fact that people need help. I said in a previous video there was more shame in needing help and not getting it than needing it and getting it. You have more to lose by not asking for help. Every one of us struggles, and it's okay. I'm going to give you a couple of definitions, and that will open up a door for future videos on what we can do about it. This basically emotions. They start in your body. They're defined as, biological states associated with the nervous system, brought upon by functional changes in our neurology, and that's associated with our thoughts, our feelings, behavioral responses, whether by choice or automatic, and a degree of pleasure or displeasure. They help us find meaning, find out what is truly important to our lives. Every one of us is different, and associate different power over what they mean to us. That's more important to me, that's not as important to me, and how we react. I remember taking a class in college in my first run many years ago, evolutionary psychology, and how we became what we are. We are wired for certain things, and it's the nature versus nurture. Some of that we got by nature. Evolutionary theorists believe that the full responses of our mind and our body was initially designed as a way to ensure our safety, to get needs met from others, and provide information about what we really need. Humans, we are a social species. We need other people. But some of these evolutionary theorists, the psychologists, they believe that emotions are the fastest wired means of communicating and connecting to others. Okay, so we need other people. From my own experience having depression, I can tell you that sometimes emotions and feelings, they are a way of reinforcement, a body's way of, and sometimes mental way of reinforcement. Do that again, or don't do that again. That in my own experience, it's been guilt and negative reinforcement have been a lot of my experiences. To choose to do that again, or oh my god, I feel bad, so I want to make it worse, or do something different. Learning to choose to do something different and do something positive. Where there are people that need help and need medication, and we also have to learn to do what we can do. Those are just some of my experiences. There's a definition of emotional illness. I'm talking only emotions, not all mental illness. Emotional illnesses, they are a psychological disorder characterized by irrational and uncontrollable fears, persistent anxiety, hostility, extreme hostility as like a protective mechanism. However, I do find this definition incomplete. It doesn't take into account the ups, the downs, the guilt, the shame, the insecurities, the inability to face reality. It isolates emotional illness, and there are times emotional illness comes along with something else. So it doesn't take into account usually that it comes along with something else. Given the definition at the beginning, I don't find it to be enough, as it doesn't take, like I just mentioned, the full spectrum of emotional illnesses and disorders. Currently, psychologists and doctors, whoever practices this, define emotional illness in two main categories: mood disorders and anxiety disorders. A lot of times they come together. You hear people suffer from anxiety and depression, mood disorders, and anxiety disorders. They can be broken down further, but I'm going to do that in another video. Disorders, they're designed. Let me speak here. Mood disorders are defined as the emotional state or mood becomes distorted or is inconsistent with the current circumstances and interferes with the inability to function. Takes us out of reality. Anxiety disorders can be defined as feelings of anxiety or panic that interfere with our daily activities. They're difficult to control, out of proportion to the actual danger, can last longer than necessary, and paralyze the person. It is important to see a doctor, because I'm not a doctor, not a therapist, nothing like that. Mental health is really no joke, and often it's worse than physical health issues. And I can tell you that from experience between the depression and the heart problem. Let me say something daring here. The heart problem is the least of my worries. It's the least of it. It can be fixed. I lived through it. So it's just as important to get help for mental health. Many people need meds. Sometimes they're overprescribed. Again, I am not a doctor, and I cannot talk about the medications. I don't know all of them, and I'm not a doctor. But what I can do in the future is, first of all, I'm always here to help if you ever need anybody. And second is, I do have a couple of videos coming up about supplements that can help with the mind. A lot of vitamins, if you're deficient, cause mental health problems. B6, B12. I've talked about nothing's really terrible will happen without the omega-3s, but there is a big difference when you take omega-3s and what they do for the mind, and vitamin D and sunshine. That's what I can focus on, and that's what I'm here for whenever you need it. I will recommend them in the future. You have to see a doctor. It depends on what your doctor says, what kind of issues you have. And people don't understand that. People don't think about, there's a lot of things that can be done in the immediate. You could start it right now. You're watching this video, you could start it as soon as you're done. Removing artificial sweeteners. What we have in this country, a lot of them are illegal in other countries. The soda, the coffee. You don't need sweeteners in your coffee. The energy drinks. And I had made a mistake when I lost my weight. A minor mistake was green tea. I was drinking Snapple and Lipton green tea, not tea bag green tea, the right kinds. With the Snapple and the Lipton, they add all sorts of the artificial sweeteners. You can do green tea in the bag. Omega-3s, just mentioned, whole grains are super important. Magnesium, B12, chromium, calcium, B6. There are so many things you can take that will help with your mind. Getting sunshine, vitamin D, salmon, drinking salmon. If you've ever heard of, I'm not sure the name of it, I'd have to look it up, like the Eskimo diet, where they eat fish and have the least instances of depression in that populations. Those populations, the Eskimos, Alaska, northern Canada, have lower rates of depression and mental health issues because of their fish and vitamin D intake. There really is too much of a list to go over in one shot. I have done some stuff in other videos, but if you need help, I can recommend the DBT. Look at that video. The CBT is another thing. Replacing your thoughts. Almost all of our problems start in our minds. Go to therapy. Finding support groups online. If you have any questions on supplements, I will do more videos in the future. If you have any questions on supplements that are good for the mind, please reach out. You get my email address. UDLAX51 at AOL.com, and hope to see you soon.